My fishing is about catching big fish with limited time. I've got a young family, I work full time, and my fishing is outside of that. But I honestly believe that as a big fish angler, you can still catch these big fish just with short time. There's a number of factors that I use to get the best out of my time when I'm fishing. Definitely one is preparation. A lot of the lakes I'm fishing are local to me, and I try and use the time that I've got when I'm not fishing to build up a picture of these fish that I'm fishing for and the venue. So I'll come down as much as I can outside of work and when I'm not fishing, sometimes with a bit of bait, sometimes with just a marker float, just to do some homework really, learn about the lake. I honestly believe that every time you come down you'll learn something. And you know, I can learn about, take the marker, I can cause disturbance when I'm not fishing, I can learn about spots in the lake for when I do turn up, and if I find the fish in that swim, I know the swim, so I can get my baits and my rigs out with a minimum of disturbance because I already know what I'm fishing to out there, and that is a massive advantage when you've got, you know, short overnight sessions after work. You know, within sort of a very short period of time of getting there, I'm out fishing, and I believe that, you know, a lot of people with a lot of time target big fish, but I honestly believe, certainly through my own results, that it can easily be done just by using the best of your time. As I say, finding spots, using rigs that are big fish rigs, and rigs that are easy to fish with. You know, I love pop-ups, especially for big fish. I particularly like rigs like that hinge stiff rig, the chod rig, great rigs for getting to a lake, casting out, feeling the drop on the bottom, and you're fishing. You know, I haven't got to mess around, taking a lot of time to get my baits and rigs in position. With using those rigs, they're out there straight away, and I'm out fishing straight away. And you know, the last thing I want to do is you know, cast lots of leads out, scare the fish away by baiting up. Bait, I'm using a bait that I've used for years, and I know it's very, very acceptable to the fish. Straight away I can go on a new water and I know that my bait instantly will work without a lot of preparation. You know, whilst I do come down outside of my fishing and trickle a bit of bait in really to keep spots going, I've certainly never had any worries with my bait. Wherever I've gone, I've caught on it. Again, it's a big advantage to know that it's one piece of the puzzle I don't have to worry about. You know, if I add my bait with a good rig, that is one bit. All I've really got to look at with the short time I've got is location and putting myself in the best position to fish for that fish in that short time, you know, and certainly not having to worry about baits or rigs. Another aspect I use a lot in my big fish fishing is timing. I look at big fish that I want to catch, and I try and research when they're coming out, when is their preferred time of year, and when is their sort of time of day as well. You know, if I can only fish work nights, it's obviously very difficult to target a fish that is a daytime fish, or I will target areas of the lake that the fish will come out or pass you by at night time, because that's all the time that I've got. You know, if the fish spends the days in the snags, there's no point in me fishing those snags all night when I know the fish is going to move out of them come the evening. So I look at that on a lake, where will the fish come out at night time or the time I'm there. Sometimes I'm lucky, I've got, you know, 1 or 2 nights. It's different, you know, I can turn up, look at the fish, think where are they going to turn up on the lake, and spend a couple of days there. But you know, if I'm looking at sort of solely single overnighters, then I'm fishing swims that will produce bites at night. Again, it's all part of maximising your time. And you know, time of the year is another big thing. The tickets I've got, certainly some of the biggest fish in them will come out at certain times of year. You know, a fish on one of the lakes I was lucky enough to catch this year, I know it's a fish that comes out, probably it's the first capture of the year from that lake. In years gone by, the first bite that's come out has tended to be the big fish. So when I look at this year, I've gone on there, you know, in the spring, in prime time when the lake was coming alive, and sure enough, a bit of luck really, but I had timed it that the first bite on the lake was that fish, and I was lucky enough it was me, and it was a fish I'd chased for a long time, but I'd gone about it in the wrong way. I'd not fished the areas that it had come out in before. It was an area of the lake I didn't really like fishing. I'd always get more bites in other parts of the lake, but if I wanted that fish, I knew I had to fish in that area. It's very territorial fish. I knew I had to be in there, but also I knew I had to be in that area at the right time, and knowing it was the first one to come out, I specifically targeted that specific area of the lake and at that time, and obviously I was fortunate enough to get it, and then I moved on to another lake in Kent again, spring, fantastic time down there, no weed in the lake, fish were all at their top weights, not a massive amount of natural food, and again it was a great time to go on there, because the time that I had, it did more bites in the sort of 2 months that I was on there than probably the rest of the year, so I knew that was the time I had to be there. And then went on there and had some good results, and then moved on, come onto the lake that we're on now. One really big fish, but a fish that comes out at a certain time of year, and we're in late autumn, that's the time. So using that timing here to fish the time that I've got at the right time for those fish. And as I said before, even with minimal time it can be done. You can still target the big fish just by using your time and the timings to the best. Moving on to here, the big fish in this lake is a well-known autumn fish. The best time of year to catch this is like here we are now, late autumn, colder weather coming in, and I know that this fish always does a capture at this time of year. So I've used my time, I've saved my leave up from very early in the year. I pinpointed these few weeks around this time to target this fish. I've incorporated slightly longer sessions because I've saved my leave up to do it. Difficult fish to catch, really travelling fish, a nomadic fish without a lot of sort of documented history to where it comes from. It's very mobile fish, always moving around the lake. Again, a slightly different mindset for me fishing wise, in that it's a fish I've got to have my baits out ready for. I can't chase it around the lake, so I can't up and move on it. It won't tolerate that. I have to pick areas that while I fish, I know that I'm in with a chance of that fish passing me by, and I've got my baits out ready for it to come along. And that's what I've done. I've picked a specific area of this lake. I've focused my time on that area of the lake at the right time of year. Primed the spot up, baited up, come outside of fishing time with a look to building it up for these next 2 or 3 weeks. And I've been lucky, I've had a couple of fish off the spot already, so I know that the spot is a fish producing spot, and now really I just need that bit of luck with the timing that that fish is going to come to me. Really exciting mega fish, really exciting lake, and a really exciting big fish time of the year.